Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala Sayyidina Muhammad. In the name of Allah, the All Merciful, the Most Merciful. So we are continuing the videos on pleasures and pain of the apparent section, and today we cover the community and intermediary. So first, community, it is the pleasure and pain that rises from the relationship between different living agent. So we are going to cover 10 of them. Precisely, the community-based pleasure and pain comes from the interaction between a person and other agent, and they have similar properties as ego, so there is no quantification, no approximation possible. It's really a complex feelings that we have, and you can guess that it depends on many aspects of the human life model, on the triggering event, on the relationship between involved agents. And we'll try to cover this, but it's not in the apparent section, and most of the causes are also unknown, but as we progress in the channel, we'll be able to start and draw a picture of this, draw an understanding of this. So first, empathy. Empathy is defined here, is a special one because it's not exactly a pleasure and pain itself. It's just that it's more of a process, a mechanism where the pleasure and pain of a person obtained by being exposed to another person, and the witness should not be involved here by definition, should not be involved in the delivery of that pleasure and pain. Otherwise we'll call that later reciprocity and vengeance. So as mentioned, it's not exactly a paper, it's just a reproduction of a pleasure and pain from one person to another, and we'll label this obtained by empathy when it occurs. So basically here it's as examples, you have so many examples. It's any book, any movie, any news that you hear, any community drama. Most of it is you kind of consume of it because you feel you project yourself into the events that occur to people, and it makes you feel yourself even though you don't go through the same event. And the causes here is a believed or perceived occurrence of a pleasure and pain loaded event to a person, and exposition of the latter to another person. The two conditions are necessary here, an occurrence and an exposition. Here the exposition is quite a wide range of possible cases. It can be a direct perception, you see the event happening. It can be a communication, to somebody tell you by any means that something happened, or you can infer it yourself with the information you have, that something, I don't know, if there's no delivery to a specific region, you can guess that people are going to start going hungry, and so on. And empathy, as it relies on beliefs, the empathy share may be absent or greater than the original event. So there is no relationship of quantity here. There's no set relationship of quantity between the shared emotion and the shared feeling and the original feeling. Second, inequality. Here is even a kind of larger and actually one of the most important pain out there. Just before defining it, we'll define the term value. Value in this channel will be defined, the first version at least of the term value will be defined. Given the situation, it's the sum of pleasure and pain, where pleasures are counted positively and pain negatively. And usually in this value you will include efforts and rewards. Efforts must never be forgotten. According to the amount of effort you put in a situation, it makes sense that the rewards are different. So inequality is the feeling of the lowest paid person at occurrence of a believed unequal values distribution among different persons, and it's especially strong if the people have provided the same effort. So basically, to give you examples, it will be clearer. When you give a different salary for the same job, the one that is lower paid, the moment he discovers at least clue about it, he will feel really bad. He will go for at least to try to equal out the salary or try to recover the difference. Same for the complaint of a kid that gets a smaller share of the cake. It's like a feeling that you immediately recognize. It's also the feeling you, for example, if for the same offense a wealthy person gets a $10,000 fine and a poor person gets a 2-year prison, there's something wrong. You feel something wrong, and this feeling that we call inequality here. A more visual examples, there's this video online where you have these two monkeys that gets one gets a cucumber as reward, the other one gets a grape as reward. You can just check it on YouTube. It's quite striking, the response of the one that gets cucumber. So this is what we will call inequality, and here it is a believed unequal values distribution across different agents. Again, the mechanic of belief will go into very detailed representation in the corresponding section, but for now the meaning you have is sufficient. The meaning you draw from it is sufficient. So inequality is one of the prevailing pain out there, and some philosopher even associate it with the origin of violence is inequality, but for now this definition will be sufficient. Next is reciprocity and vengeance. So before defining them, we'll just define specific events here: a favor and an offense. A favor is an action of the origin agent delivering a believed positive value with the value we defined before, the sum of pain and pleasure, to the destination agent. And offense is the overall negative one, the radical opposite of the favor. And reciprocity is the pain felt by the destination agent to return a favor to its original agent, and the vengeance is defined as the pain felt by the destination agent that received an offense. So the terms, these words, basically you know them, I guess. The reciprocity is the feeling you have when you are not able, or you don't come with a gift while somebody else have come up with a gift. So you feel bad about it. This feeling we'll call it reciprocity. And the vengeance is when somebody has offended you, and you want to reply by the same offense. If feeling inside you tells you to reply at least with another offense, and this feeling is it's called vengeance, and the cause here is the favor or the offense. Next, envy. So here it's the negative feeling at seeing a wanted event. So the person getting the envy has a will. So seeing a wanted event happen to another person. So for example, seeing somebody's wealth when you are looking for money, or same for family size, beauty, knowledge, and all other aspects of life. So here it's the occurrence of a wanted event to another person. This one is straightforward, I guess. Then comes consistency and inconsistency. So here is when you are used to do something, we call that a habit. We'll define what a habit is in base behaviors, but here is when you break one, is when you either uphold a habit, you get a positive feeling like you're continuing in the same path, and when you break a habit, it's this negative feeling, we call that inconsistency. Breaking a diet goal, unusual interaction with a usual person, it's typically change of personalities, or when you try to renegotiate the distribution of values, typically salaries or any other treatment, the way you treat each other. This is where this inconsistency will strike. So here is the cause is the action confirming or breaking a habit. Just as a note, this pain and pleasure could have been put in ego as well, but I didn't want to repeat it twice, and since the community is the most striking, community occurrence is the most striking one, I put it here. Consistency, inconsistency. Then comes compliment, critic. So here, compliment is a positive response to an event, approving an element of one's life by another person. Critic is the negative response when there is disapproval, and this can take very different forms. The most direct one is a positive negative communication, like when somebody tells you good job or insults you, the feeling is immediate. But it can be a bit more implicit, typically time, effort, money investment, or retention in an associated event. For example, if your manager increases your budget, it means and implicitly that he trusts you in the way you do things, so you're doing good things, so you will feel good because of that action, even though it's not explicit. It's definitely a strong compliment. Same distrust for some value delivery, job promotion, or new task responsibility. All this hides this either approval or disapproval of a person, and this can get a person very quickly annoyed or happy in the opposite. So cause validation disapproval event. Community. So here this one will look like a lot like a visual beneficial view and beneficial hearing, but here it's specifically associated with the community. So positive response to another person's element of life, negative response to another person of life. It's basically any of those moments where you say I like this about that person, I dislike this about that person, and the origin of whether you like it or not, this taste is unknown. But some correlations have been identified in research. You can find that easily, I guess, on online. So some correlations with a similarity between the two people, the one that witness and the one that act. Compliments given. If you receive a lot of compliments from a person, you are more likely to like what he is, or your own state of satisfaction, and other criteria as well. But for now, we will since we look for a more fundamental explanation of things, we will for now state that it's unknown causes. Next, in terms of community, one of the strongest out there is conformism, non-conformism. So here conformism is there's a lot of element here. Positive response of match between own actions and characterizing actions of a belonging group, and there is believed everywhere because it's all about where you think you stand. So do you match? Do you recognize that as an action of this group, or do you actually recognize this group as being yours? And conformism is the negative response when there is a mismatch, so separation from the group you actually aspire to. So here it's typically adhesion to statements of your parents, your family, your tribe, your nation's traditions. All of this is when you have a group of multiple people and you want to be part of them, you will try and match their behavior, and there are feelings associated with it. Here is you can feel already the main cause behind here is a lot of survival here, a lot of make sure people remain united. If there was no non-conformism feeling, it would be I guess a bit of hell on earth. But on the opposite, conformism may also suggest you to behave in a certain way that is also dangerous. So both directions are present. So here the cause is so there is 4 believed here. There is the match, mismatch, believed, and above match, mismatch, believed occurrence. So you have a belief on whether the event occurred, you have the belief whether the event matches the group, or you have the belief whether the characterizing action matches what the group is doing, and finally the belief of what group you think you are belonging to. This one is complicated yet the most powerful, but one of the most powerful. We'll see, maybe we'll review it once we cover the belief, as it is a very important one. And finally, there is this specific community, pleasure and pain. So here it's a bit deeper than liking, so feeling of deep affection of an agent towards another agent, and it's the usual relationship between kids and parents, couple members, brother and sisters, or close friends. And cause is unknown here. Why would you love somebody and not somebody else? The true cause, why would you have that taste and not another taste, is unknown for now. We'll try and guess later, but for now we'll leave it at that. And there's another one related to love as well, kind of a little bit, not a radical opposite, but a little bit. So believed loss or non-dedication of a loved person. So it's typically you have this feeling when you have any suspicions of a spouse at an unusual behavior. Wait, what did I wrote here? Sorry. Suspicions when your spouse make an unusual behavior, typically. So the cause here is the sign. We see what sign, the subtlety behind sign, later signs of loss or non-dedication. And in my definition, jealousy here is systematically related to love. I will ignore I know it's also used as envy, but envy is envy, and jealousy is related to love only. So that's it for the community. For now it will be sufficient, and we'll, as mentioned, the pleasure and pain, all of it will be reviewed in stages to improve our understanding of things. But for the apparent, that's sufficient. The last one is the intermediary. So here it's an indirect relationship to all of it, actually. So through beliefs, pain and pleasure may be targeted through an indirect path with an intermediary, typically a powerful event. So it is a way by which we can also live and feel, and an intermediary could be any event in life, really anything you can believe in, think that it will make your life better. And there are 3 of them that are quite special, and the 4th one is the kind of the most common, so we separate them. So time, energy, wealth, here they are a direct condition to be able to enjoy any pleasure and pain, so it's normal that somehow they appear as intermediary. If you have wealth, I can be happy, so this will be a common one. And this is also where you put God or other super agent. God is typically from religious origins, so you have we'll see that later. An event, it can also be any event believed as having a power on the occurrence of events. Traditionally, sun, moon are present in many nations, are worshipped in many nations. There's also idols and many other that we'll see later. So we're going to cover these 4, and they are basically targeted as if a pleasure and pain themselves, targeted as if pain and pleasure were dependent on them, on the relationship you have with these intermediaries. So if your relationship with these intermediaries improve, you will feel like you are progressing, you will feel happiness here, a pleasure here, and this is the pleasure we're referring to. So the first one is time. So time defined here as a pleasure and pain. It's not the definition of generic definition of pain. I could have called it time utility, but for now I keep things simple. Measure of progress of a person across his life as believed. And usually when you gain, there's no usually here. Gaining or losing time may result in a pleasure or pain. When you save some time, sometimes. So. For example, you can set a timing for your education before 25 years old I want to have my graduation. work. I want to work, I don't know, 10 years before I get married, or have, I don't know, 10 few weeks holidays here and there. So you organize your life in time slots, and somehow you rely on this to be happy. This is where time intervenes as intermediary. So the true nature of time is unknown, is definitely not apparent. However, the measurable time there is a measurable time, and it's interfering in laws of behaviors of nature in a precisely quantified manner. However, the way it's valued by people will vary across people and nations. Some nations, they will take their time in doing everything, while others are super timed, living a more stressed life. And the role of time will be discussed in the hidden later. In terms of quantity, here again it's hard to assess, as it depends on people. However, you can approximate easily by what you call duration, second, hours, month, year, and so on. Second, energy. So measure of how one believes he can use his capacities. So usually gaining and losing energy will result in a pain or a pleasure. For example, do I have the energy to run 42 kilometers? Do I have energy to talk 1 hour? Have I eaten 2,200 kilocalories per day? This number 2,000 kilocalories typically is exactly the measure of energy. It can be this measure can be done on any event of life. This energy, so it's actually very applicable notion, energy. So the true nature is unknown, and the measurable energy is interfering in the laws of behaviors of nature in precisely quantified manner, same as time. However, it's again valued differently across people and nations. Some people are proud to do hard labor, while others try to avoid this kind of things. And the quantity, same. So how to quantify? You can approximate it by the energy spent in joules or kilocalorie if you want, but this energy value can be assessed across anything, really any change in life. So it's a really pragmatic one, and it has an important role, as we'll see later. Third one is wealth. So here, remember, we are talking about pleasure and pain. So it's rather wealth utility, I would say. So it's the measure of how one believes his ownership of an event is worth, and it's typically here when you lose wealth, it's a pain. When you gain wealth, it's a pleasure. And just maybe as a extra note, I would say this need for wealth assessment and wealth relationship originates from the need to cooperate with others to live up to your expectation. Otherwise, it's not that necessary. So I just put this as a note, and we'll see that later, much later. Example: one bread with a standard price of $1. So here you go to the bakery, you don't question the price, you just buy it, and that's it. You know that it's recognized across people. And now if you have a share, you will start to negotiate a little bit to try to sell it at the highest price, $10 for example. And as for the house, when you want to sell or buy a house, the negotiation, you will put your entire soul on it, because it's quite expensive. So wealth has a different value, and it can also take different form. The style the appearance style you project to people, the education level you pursue. Basically, it's anything ultimately convertible into exchangeable value with other people. And the last one is a bit more kind of philosophical, independence. So here it's when you undermine the thing from its source, so from its origin, where you try to be able to be independent is to be very, very typically very wealthy, because you just save yourself from being dependent on assess on all the processes, from all these pain and pleasures. So it's also an example, but for now let's leave it at this. It's a bit to discuss it will be a bit too philosophical for this stage of the channel. In terms of cause, so it's here wealth originates from the belief that a higher ownership allows to get more value. If you have that value, that belief, which typically people have, you will feel that wealth. You will feel that wealth, pain, and pleasure. And the quantity is hard to assess, as it is utility again here. How you assess the value of your thing is not. It depends on people, depends on your relationship with whatever event we're talking about, and the approximation by the price. You could approximate this by the price of the owner is ready to sell, or if the future owner is ready to buy. However, prices can be set according to different strategies, cost-based with a premium, price-based, anything in between, that will hide the true value of the ownership. So the price is not reliable, definitely not reliable. The true value could be defined as long-term feeling of losing or gaining the ownership of the event, and it's something that even the owner doesn't know. So assessing truly the pain and pleasure of gaining, losing wealth is not within reach right now, but the approximation of price for now will be sufficient. And for wealth, for time and energy, we agreed on a unit. It's pretty clear since it is in the law of behavior of nature. But as for wealth, there is an approximation here, because you have to assess. We assess wealth through a reference event price, typically currencies or commodities such as gold, silver, and these are typically, they are not a solid value. As you can see, the price are changing. Some currencies are falling crazy, others are raising, and so on. So they just stand out because they are agreed across people, particularly globally these days. But wealth here relates to the feeling of gaining, losing, and wealth can take many forms. So it's very important to make the difference with just the cash. And finally, the last intermediary, and here it's rather the general definition of intermediary, and we exclude time, energy, wealth, which are special, as mentioned. So here it's a belief in an event, intermediary, to help succeed in any aspect of life, and the pleasure comes with a believed improvement of an aspect of the relationship with the intermediary, and the pain is associated with the deterioration of that same aspect. So here we cover anything, any god, any idols, any also invisible agents. But we'll see why devils, jinns, angels are actually covering a lot, but we'll see that later. Ideas and ideologies, typically when you believe that technology will will solve any problem, you are typically believing in technology as an intermediary. And when you have a new discovery, you will feel good. That feeling you get is what we call here intermediary, whatever super agent you have here, and typically here is super agent technology. Or it can be IDs, specific IDs, and space settlements, fusion-based energy, and so on. So measured attempt at major discoveries. It can also be idolized persons, charismatic leaders, and so on. So here there is a pain, pleasure associated with it, and the cause is any signs that cause the belief in the change of approval of that. Improvement, deterioration of that relationship with the intermediary. I need to update this one. Quantity, it's hard to assess, definitely hard to assess, and no approximation at all. Devotion of a person may be locally assessed, but it's very risky to generalize across the entire life. Just to give an example, a poor that gives $10 is definitely not the same as a wealthy that gives the same amount. There is there is a complex kind of hidden complex number that could that may be able to assess this, but it takes basically all life into consideration, and when you take all life, as we'll see, it's not possible to derive. So that's it. We covered all the pleasure and pain for now, and hopefully as we go through we'll try and refine their true nature in order to reach a more in-depth understanding of what we're going through. Just to give an example, a real life example, a person goes to the market, and he sees a nice necklace and decides to buy it. What are the pain and pleasures involved in this situation? So at first, straightforward pleasure and pain you can identify is the actions itself. Beneficial view, necklace, you see the necklace, the shape, the radiance, the colors, you like it. The improvement of wealth, since by buying it you obtain a necklace. However, the pain is you spent money, and these are the most straightforward. Then comes a layer of emotion, the joy of having this new necklace. You also, as you spend money, the fear of running out of money, and as the person is in the market, he can see the more hidden view is the more hidden ones should have been purple here. But as he's living and he's exposed to the entire world, so he will see other products that some he might like, some he might not like, and since he's moving to some place, it takes some energy, it takes some time, so a pain here. If he negotiates like his father taught him, he will feel a bit of conformism. If he meets somebody that does not recognize, does not salute him, it can pass as a critique. If he kill an ant while walking on it and feel some regret. So there is many things. The idea is that there is many things that can happen at the same time. So here, just a simple example. We start to put the 3 points because there's too many things that can happen already, and we are only at the pain and pleasure level. We still have other aspects that are even more complicated than this. So basically it's a complex life combining multiple pleasure and pain that we'll need to deal with. But for now, let's take things slowly. So pleasures and pain are the only feeling a person gets during his life, and the thing is they are not instantaneously obtained at will. You can't just decide to feel joy at any moment. We have to do something. As for the pleasures and pain, they can only be intended and hoped for. So how do we reach them? We reach them by performing actions among our range of capacities to reach a situation where a pleasure is believed to be felt and a pain is believed to be avoided. So the next aspect of life that we'll cover is the capacities themselves, since everything that we do is among those range of capacities. So capacities will be relatively simple. It's only after that things will get a bit more complicated with the beliefs and with the base behaviors. So incha'Allah will cover all of them, and that's it. Wassalamu alaikum.